friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you another episode of One Set 4 Ways, and I'll be using MFT's Meow Mix. I will be adding just a couple of supporting images from Sending a Smile, and these are all images that I colored during the Daily Marker 30-Day Coloring Challenge. So if you're like me and you like to participate in this challenge on Instagram, I always end up with a ton of images and I need to find ways to use them on cards. And I will admit I'm not the best at using them after the fact. I usually color my images with a particular card design in mind. So when I just color images without that idea, I usually end up just leaving them sitting in a bowl on my desk and they don't get used. So that is what this series developed from, just trying to find a way to use up some of these images. So I've divided my images into 4 different piles for 4 different cards. And I also made this large cloud background using the MFT cloud stencil and some tumbled glass distress oxide ink. So I'm going to find 4 different dies that I want to cut out focal panels from this one large panel, which I made using Bristol Smooth Surface cardstock. So while I was at it, I also cut out 4 grassy panels, and I used the MFT grassy border and some Lawn Fawn Noble Fur cardstock. So I'm just going to match each of those up, and then I will set 3 of those off to the side so that I can start assembling. My first card is going to feature the MFT wonky stitched rectangles as my focal panel. So I'm adhering my grassy border down to the bottom with some liquid glue, and then I'm going to add in my images. So first I've got this orange striped cat. Orange striped cats are one of my absolute favorites. I just really love the way that they look, and so that's one of my favorites to color. So I'm going to add him over on a little bit to the left of center. I just wanted to do something a little bit different and not have things completely centered on the card. I'm going to add a blue flower behind him, just lifted up his tail to tuck that in. And then over on the right hand side where I have a little more space, I'll add 2 flowers. So I've got this really pretty multicolored flower, and then I've got almost like a daisy. So I'll add that right beside and just kind of layer them, lifting them up a little bit and tucking things behind. That's one of the reasons I love using liquid glue, is because you have that little bit of time to be able to manipulate your images. Each of my card designs is going to have a little friend, and this guy gets a ladybug. So I just adhered that, and now I'm moving on to the next focal panel. So this one I used the Stitched Mini Scallop Circle Stacks from MFT to die cut the background, and then I'm adhering the grassy border at the bottom. I'm going to do the same design pretty much on all 4 cards, so they're going to look unified. They could definitely be a set, but having each one have a different shaped focal panel is going to set them apart and just make them all a little bit different and unique. So I'm tucking the large purple flower behind him and just making sure that that leaf poked out a little bit so you could see that. And then the blue daisy will go also on the left, and then the coral pink flower over on the right hand side. And then the little friend that this guy is going to get is a bluebird. So I'll just set that aside to dry. Card number 3 is using the Stitched Arch Stacks from MFT. So I'm adhering my grassy border down to the bottom once again. And this one I'm going to use the Gray Kitty. This one does not come with stripes on it, but I did decide to add some stripes just to give it a little more personality. And then I've got 3 more flowers for him. So I'm going to use the large blue flower over on the right hand side. I wanted to vary each scene just a little bit with the placement of the different flowers and things. So this large one's going on the right, and then I'll tuck the purple daisy on the right hand side as well. And then that really pretty multicolored flower. I just love this image so much because there's so many fun ways to color it. That one's going to go over on the left-hand side. This time I'm going to do 2 butterflies for the little friend that goes along with the kitty. So I've got one with a pink center. I'm putting that near the blue flower away from the pink flower just to spread that color around so you get nice pops here and there. And then the one with the blue center is going to go down by the pink flower. Focal panel number 4 is using the Stitched Mini Scallop Dynamics, and this one the frame separates from the inside square, so I just taped it together on the back with some post-it tape, and now I can flip that over and adhere my grassy border to the bottom. And I made sure to put some glue on the frame part so that would also be adhered down to the rest of the panel. Then I'm going to take a little white kitty. So this is the only cat that I used twice to make 4 cards. There's only 3 cats in this set, but he just looks completely different because the other one I colored like a calico cat, and this one I colored like a little white kitty. And that's the fun thing about doing images like cats, dogs, bunnies, mice, is that there's just so many fun ways to color them up and make them unique. So I'm just adding my flowers around him so he's all framed up like the other cats and they look like they're in a garden. And this time I colored the little bird purple, so he's going to go over on the right hand side. And then I can pop all of these focal panels into my MISTI so that I can stamp my sentiments. And I'm doing them all in Lawn Fawn's Noble Fur ink. So the first card base, or I'm sorry, focal panel is going to get the sentiment that says, "Sending you a smile on your birthday," and that one is from Meow Mix. And I did stamp that down twice to get a really good impression. Card number 2 is going to get the sentiment, "Thinking of Mew," and that one is also from Meow Mix. Card number 3 gets "Just for You on Your Special Day," and that one comes from the Pure Innocence for the Birthday Girl stamp set. And then card number 4 is going to get the sentiment "Happy Birthday," and that one is from the Cute Cats stamp set, and these were all from MFT. While I have my MISTI out, I'm also going to be stamping the insides of all my cards. I'm just going to show one in the video, but I'll show you them all at the end. But it's just getting a little bit redundant, so I just did happiest of birthdays and a cat, a flower, and a butterfly for this one, and I changed it up for each of them. The pattern papers that I'm using today are from the Tea-Lightful 6x6 by Pebbles. So I'm going to start by going through my scraps and pulling out anything that I think I might want to use. And then I'll start flipping through the pages and look for some patterns that I think are going to go nicely. I wanted some bright florals, and then I also wanted some more muted tones like that aqua polka dot. There's also this coral polka dot, and I have a yellow polka dot as well. So just pulling out some different patterns, and then I'm going to separate them into piles so that I know kind of which ones are more tone on tone and which ones are more colorful, and that will give me an idea to start cutting these up and figuring out how I want to lay out each of my cards. So card number 1 is on a snow cone card base, and on that I'm adhering the pale aqua polka dot, and I die cut that using the A2 Stitch Rectangles set 2. So I have that nice little bit of the blue border on the outside edge and the great stitching detail. Then I trimmed down this cursive text print, and I'm going to center that on the card over top. And then I've got a really pretty bright floral, and I'm going to adhere that right down across the center. And I did use that same A2 Stitch Rectangles stacks set 2, so it has the stitching detail to line up with the aqua panel. Then I'm going to pull off the release paper from the foam tape that I added to the back of my focal panel, and I'll center that on the card and press everything down into place. For card number 2, I'm using a lemon chiffon card base, and then I have die cut that yellow polka dot with that same A2 Stitch Rectangle Stack Set 2 die, and I'm adhering that to the top half of the card. Then on the bottom half, I've got a nice pretty floral. I wanted to use one of these floral patterns on each of the cards just to really pull in the different colors of the flowers that I colored. And then I'm adding a little scallop border using that aqua piece from card 1. And I used the Lawn Fawn stitch scallop borders for that. And I just added that right across the border between the two pattern papers. Then I'll peel off the release papers from my foam tape and center that focal panel right on the card. Make sure everything's lined up and press that one down into place. So for card 3, I'm using a pink lemonade card base. I believe that this color has been discontinued by MFT, but I still have some in my stash and I love it. So I'm just going to continue using it up. And I adhered the coral polka dot down, and I accidentally adhered it upside down, but thank goodness with this pattern it didn't matter. So I just always double check and make sure that I can lift up the bottom of the card. Then I'm going to adhere this really pretty floral pattern, kind of a little bit high of center on the card. I just wanted to accentuate the top half and kind of go along with this square focal panel that I've got for this one. Then I've got another piece of that text print that I used a Lawn Fawn Stitch Party Banner die to just die cut the bottom edge to give it that stitch detail on the flag portion. And then I've got foam tape on the back of my focal panel once again, and I will center that over the floral print. I just wanted to shift that text pattern a little bit to the left, which was a good thing that I'm using that liquid glue so I can do that. And then I'll press that one down into place. And then card 4, I've got a different floral pattern for this one. I ran out of the other two prints, but this one also matches the coloring that I did on the floral images. So I'm adhering that one down to the card base, and that one is the Grapesicle card base. And then I've got a scalloped border with that aqua polka dot, and then a leftover piece of the coral polka dot as well. So I'm going to glue those together, and then I'm going to add those to my card, just a little low of center, and then make sure those are lined up before I press it into place. Once again, peel off those release papers really quick, and then I can pop up my focal panel. I just wanted to add a little bit of that pink poking out from the bottom of the focal panel, and then press that down into place. So here are all 4 cards that I made today using the images from the Daily Marker 30-Day Coloring Challenge. I think they all turned out super cute, and you can see that they really do look like a set. So if you wanted to give them to one person, you know, as a collection, you could do that, or you could also definitely give them as individual cards. But they definitely have a theme going on with the cats and the florals, but each one is unique with the different focal panels. I also did 2 different orientations with the vertical and horizontal, and all that good stuff. So I'm just finishing up the cards by adding a little bit of stickles here and there. I'm doing it to the centers of some of the flowers and also to the cat's noses. So now I'll lift each one up and show you the inside sentiment. This one said, "Love you, meow, and forever." Card number 2 says, "Sending positive vibes." Card number 3 actually has the same sentiment, but a different cat and flower and butterfly. And then card number 4 says, "Happiest of birthdays." And I'll just put these all together so you can see them all at once one more time. I hope you guys really enjoyed the episode 5 of One Set 4 Ways. I had a lot of fun creating it for you. If you're interested, I do have a playlist of the other cards in this series. You can check that out. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please do hit that thumbs up button. That lets me know that you're interested in more videos like this. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you. I'm linking up 2 other cat videos that I thought you guys might also enjoy, so feel free to click on either one of those, and I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day. Bye-bye.